Cabanas is not just for breakfast and not just for lunch. DisneyCruisers, hello, I'm Ashley. Thank you for clicking on this video. Today we are going to talk about Cabanas, the breakfast buffet and lunch buffet that you can find on all 4 ships currently. But I'm going to tell you about my experience at Cabanas for dinner.
We had some hiccups, and
that way you can see if it's something that you want to do on your cruise. If you are a part of our Disney Cruiser family, then give me a big like down below so I know that you're here. Consider subscribing if you haven't already and you like what you see. I love going to Cabanas for breakfast, and I love going to Cabanas for lunch. But did you know that you can go to Cabanas at dinner time? It is kind of known. You can see it on your navigator. It'll say when it's open for dinner, but no one really ever talks about it. Your waiters in your main dining room, they don't really talk about it. No one really says like, hey, go to Cabanas for dinner. But it is an option, and you can see on your navigator the nights that it's open on your sailing. And you do not have to go to Cabanas at your designated time. So on your Key to the World card, if it says you have 5:45 dinner, you do not have to go to Cabanas at 5:45. If it says you have 8:15 dinner, you do not have to go to Cabanas at 8:15. You can show up at any point during the times listed in the navigator for when Cabanas is open for dinner. We decided to go to Cabanas for dinner. It was pirate night, and in the main dining room, I'm not like super in love with the pirate night menu. And I do know at Cabanas, their menu is different for dinner. However, it's a lot of things that they choose from all the main dining rooms. So you can get like the truffle pasta for sets at Cabanas, even though you're not at Animators and even though it's pirate night. You just walk up to the podium. Only one side of Cabanas is open. You walk up to the side that's open. You go to the podium and they ask for your room number, and then they seat you. They try and seat people. It's first come, first serve, obviously. There's not like assigned tables, but they'll seat you by the window until all the window seats are gone, and then they'll go further into the restaurant. We got a seat right by the window, which was very nice, but it was dark outside, so you couldn't really see anything, so it didn't matter that you were by the window. But if you were going in the summer with daylight savings, then you would probably be able to see the water when you were dining there, so that would be a positive. We sat down, we got menus, they greeted us, ordered just like normal from the main dining room. You can order whatever you want, how much of whatever you want. They had kids menus. In fact, they even gave our kids the pirate kids menu that they would have gotten in the main dining room. When we first arrived, there was one other table there. By the time we left, the place was almost full. Compared to all the people on the ship, it looked like not many people were eating at Cabanas, but considering most people go to the main dining room, I was surprised at how many people were actually eating dinner at Cabanas. You could eat at Cabanas for dinner for a number of reasons. Because you want to try something different. Maybe your dining is too late and you want to eat earlier. Maybe it had to do with some excursion you had or a movie that's showing that you want to get to on time. Maybe you don't like the people you're sitting with at dinner. Your kids want to change a pace. Maybe you want to try and get in and out of dinner quicker. Lots of different reasons why you can go to Cabanas, and that's why they have this option for you. So after you order from the menu, everything is like normal. You get bread service. They do your drinks. It's all just like a restaurant, just like the main dining room. They do make it look nicer for dinner time. It doesn't look the same because it's not a buffet, so they cover the buffet area up. The table will be decorated in a nicer fashion. It won't just be plain wood with nothing on it. Our food arrived hot. It was delicious, really good. It was really quick service, like almost too quick. I know a lot of them go there for like training for the main dining rooms, and I think their timing was a little bit off. In the main dining room, you'll finish your soup, and then a little bit later, they'll give you your appetizer. In Cabanas, we were like still eating our soup, and then our appetizer came, which was fine. It's just, you don't have that much room, and the timing was just a little off if you compared it to the main dining room, but not a big deal. We were done with all of our entrees, appetizers, all the extra things that we got within like 45 minutes. The timing was wonderful. It was spectacular, actually. We were going to be done eating before the time we would normally eat in the main dining room, and because we were doing it this way, we were actually trying to go to the show later. We wanted to go to the later show, so we were trying to get done by the time the second Broadway show happened. So everything was going along swimmingly until dessert. We had some hiccups, and that made our time really long, like almost 2 hours we were in there. The reason though was because when we ordered our dessert, which we ordered off the menu they gave us, the server misunderstood my husband's order and wrote down something. But I guess the problem was they were trying to be like too nice, and instead of coming back over to us and saying, we don't serve that, or we have no idea what you're talking about, instead of coming over and like clarifying or asking us what it was, they were trying to be really nice and like find it on the ship. Like you could see our waiters, they like were leaving and coming back and like going behind the kitchen and then coming out from the, like they were doing all these things, and they don't have that many tables. There was nothing else for them to be doing. But then they would like have discussions. Our waiter was showing the chef his notepad of what he wrote down for dessert. There was all this confusion. I think they were just basically trying to like create this dessert that my husband said and like told him he wanted to order. But he didn't really say that, so they were trying to like create this dessert that didn't exist. So that was really frustrating because then my kids were starting to get antsy, and we could have just left. You know, like, you don't have to wait for your check. We could have stood up and left and told them never mind for dessert. But we kind of like also didn't have anything really to do until the show, so we just sat there, and my kids really wanted their dessert. Eventually they came over and told us they don't have that. And so my husband was like, have what? And so they said it back, and he was like, oh, that's not what I meant. Like, there was a miscommunication. This is what I want. So then once they found out what he really wanted, of course they had that right there because it was on the menu and that's what he ordered. And that took 2 seconds. So then we got our dessert and then we left. Overall, it took about 2 hours to eat there, but it didn't have to. They were all very nice, super great service, like superb service. The food was excellent. I would recommend going to Cabanas for dinner. I would not go to Cabanas for dinner if you were eating at Tiana's or Rapunzel's. Maybe the second night of Animators. I also think it's good to do it on a double night. So if this is your second time in a main dining room, then I would skip it. I always recommend going to all the main dining rooms at least once on your cruise. If you don't have time on your first cruise, save it for a later cruise. It's not something you have to do on your first cruise. I really enjoy Cabanas for all 3 meals. I've eaten all 3 meals there and I've loved it every single time. But there are other options. You don't always have to eat in Cabanas. Did you know that you can do the opposite? Eat in the main dining rooms for breakfast and lunch. You can check out that video here if you haven't watched it yet. Thank you for spreading the Disney Cruise love and letting everyone know out there how much we love cruising on our Disney cruise ships. Toodaloo, cruisers.